Good evening, everybody. I hope you are well. It's another rather sunny day today. So if you're watching us, I've started the live a little early just so that somebody's here when everybody arrives. Please do let me know where you're joining from in the chat tonight. I'm guessing some people will be enjoying the sun, enjoying the holidays, I think. Let me know in the chat where you're from. We're going to get started with tonight's training in about 2 or 3 minutes. So you've still got time to nip to the loo, grab a brew, that rhymes, and away we go. Hi, Danielle. Nice to see you again. Please let me know where you're from. Tonight's is really kind of high-level stuff. We're going to be going about the USP. Hi, Learn with Shrikanith. Great to see you from India. Tonight's session is all about finding your USP. And your USP is really important because without it, you're just like everybody else. You will struggle to find a way to stand out, and you will find it hard to relate and engage with people and make yourself or your business more appealing. So we're going to go through that and some of the key things you can think of, some of the key things that you can develop. So that's what we're going to go through tonight. So do let me know, Gabriel from the Philippines, welcome. It's nice in the chat, career inspiration, Curti, yeah, hi Alice. I'm getting to know some of your names now because I've got some people who come regularly, so it's really nice to see that you're getting value from coming back weekly. Please do remember, and I'm going to be really cheeky now, if you enjoy these sessions, you're getting value from these sessions, please would you jump onto Trustpilot, which is a UK review site, or Google Maverrik reviews and give us a review. If you get value, I really appreciate it. That would be awesome. So we'll start in 1 more minute. We'll just wait for a few more people to join, and then we will kickstart this session on how to find your unique selling point. So your USP is literally the key thing that you rest your sales pitch on, you rest the way you do business on. It's the way you punch through in a very crowded marketplace by really refining yourself to emphasize the right things and minimize the things, and don't emphasize the things that you're weak on. It's finding your sweet spot to sell effectively. Now, we could go in and spend hours and hours on this, so I'm going to give you as much as I can in the hour-long session that will help you really refine and target who you want to reach and how you want to make sure that you look better than your competitors, or the better option or the better choice. So we all ready? Do let me know in the chat if you've got any questions as we go. I'd love to hear from you. I think we've got a download in tonight's session, so that will be at the end. We'll put the link there, or we'll send the link round to everybody who's registered. But here we go. So just in case, oh, Sal's here. Hi, Sal. I'm from Plymouth. I'm in Plymouth tonight, Sal. So we're not a million miles away, and you're helping people comply with ISO standards. So that's brilliant and fantastic there. So do let us know where you're from in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. Happy to help. Just a quick high-level thing of who we are so that you know who we are. Founded in 2014. We're a business growth, social selling and strategy business. So we help businesses with business growth, social selling and strategy. No brainer there. 100,000 people have been through our online training, and around 8,000 people have been on one of our courses, our accelerators, or our programs. So just a little bit of a headline to us. And again, if you get value from tonight, the only thing we're asking you to do is go to Google Maverrik and give us a review, and go to our Trustpilot and give us a review if you get value. You know, if you don't, go, I've spent some time, thank you very much. But if you do get value, we'd appreciate that. Okay, so I'm teaching you the obvious here, and I'm stating the obvious, but we will get to some detail in a bit. The way we do business has changed just because COVID, all that kind of stuff's happened. And it's fundamentally changed our business. So I know a lot of people who are going, actually, my USP, my business model kind of doesn't make sense as easily, or it doesn't make sense so much anymore. So people are having to really rethink how they've done business, how they do business. And this is a great time for you to really evaluate your USP, because we know that this COVID situation is not going to disappear overnight. So it's going to force us to change our business model potentially for a few years. But actually, what may happen is some of those new ways of working will stick. So whilst we might think, oh, I just need to get through and I just need to adapt to what's happening right now, what you may find is that some of the things that we do right now, like working from home and things like that, will stick. And so some of the classic things that happen, for an example, I know a lot of companies are here's Dimitri. I know, for an example, that some companies are looking at permanently keeping people working from home and just coming in for meetings as and when they need. And some companies are looking and going, do you know what? We don't need an office, or we don't need the size of office we have. So what does this mean? It means that the marketing and the way you position your business is going to change. For an example, businesses that relied on a lot of kind of cold calling to generate leads and inquiries and new business found themselves struggling because they couldn't reach the people that they used to reach before. Some people who relied on direct mail have suddenly found that that mail doesn't make its way to the person's desk anymore because they're working from home. And it's either a longer delay in getting it put to the person, or it doesn't get to the person at all. So these things are really forcing us to rethink how our business has changed and how our USP, the bit that makes us different, the bit that makes us unique against the competitors, the bit that makes us the better choice the competitors, may have changed. It may not. You may be sailing along as if nothing's happened. But it's helpful for you to understand the USP and how you can really tighten yours up and refine yours. So let's go. So yeah, business has changed. COVID has changed the world, so how do we adapt? How do we adapt? So the fundamentals of a USP is it's the differentiators between you, what your customers do, and what your customers want. So if we look at this diagram that I've got on screen here, right in front of you, you've got 3 circles. What do customers want? What do we do well? What do you do well? What do your competitors do well? Now, when you don't do this work and this research, what happens is you end up pitching yourself in a space that isn't the sweet spot. And that's really, think about it, your USP is your sweet spot on your offer to customers. So look at this here, and you see the red section here. That's the worst place to try and compete because you will lose. The grey space, trying to be better, do something better than your competitors or compete with your competitors, but not in a space that has demand from your customers, will actually be pointless. You'd be like flogging a dead horse, as they would say here. It'd be like a pointless exercise. And then there's this space, the yellow space. And the yellow space is the place where you are no different than your competitors. And a lot of businesses inadvertently drift into this yellow space, and they become generic, or they replicate the competitors, or they just chase business on the law of numbers. The space where your USP is the green, which is somewhere where you're a space where you are sufficiently separate from your competition in the way you're doing things and the way you're operating. And it's in fulfilling a demand from the customers or a need from the customers. And it's something you can do really, really well. Now, it is like a Venn diagram, Radhika, yeah, but think about it like this. This is the map of how you find the space that you can really not compete. It's where people can't compete with you, and it's where you don't have to compete with your competitors. And it's worth taking some time going through this exercise of starting to look at what do customers want, what can we offer really, really well, what do the competitors do really well, and finding that space. And sometimes you can flip this round and go, what is it that customers want that we know our competitors are weak at? And that is usually also the green space. So it's worth you just making this little diagram and starting to list that out. I can't help you with that. You have to do that work yourself. You have to do that research yourself. But it's really important that you do it, because that's where you can find your sweet spot in your service. And it's little changes that make all the difference. So let's say, for an example, let's say you're working in a particular industry or sector. Let's say you're working in the manufacturing sector. Do you think tailoring your offering, or one of your offerings, one of your services to the manufacturing sector, if your competitor's offering off-the-shelf offering, in other words, generic, do you think you'd be more relevant? So just specifying a product to a market can help you differentiate yourself over and above your competitors. So for an example, let's say you've got a widget, a little contraption, a gadget that you have made, or that has been made, that helps lots of different industries. Just by tailoring it to a particular industry will help you gain an advantage or have a USP over and above what your competitors are doing. So just tailoring that little bit can make a huge difference. And that's all you need. Remember, when you run a race, if you run go, let's say some of you join the Olympics here and go for the Olympics, you don't need to be 1,000,000 miles in front of the person coming second. Yeah, if you're trying to win, you only need to be marginally in front. Now, we'd love to lap people and be, 1,000,000 miles ahead of everybody else, but to be successful in business, you only need to be one step ahead. You only need to be that one fraction of a second ahead of the person coming second to win. So you're looking for the margins here, as we would call it. You're looking for the 1%, the little things, the little tiny details that you can build up that make you different, give you something different to offer, a reason why you versus somebody else. But you have to do the research to kind of map out what they are, what the competitors do well, what they're weak at, what you're good at, what you're not good at, what do customers want, what do they feel like, what are the challenges they're facing, and then you can start to really define your USP. But what's really important is, what do you offer that solves a pressing problem for a client or customer? What do you offer that solves a pressing problem? Now, if you can't solve a pressing problem, you will struggle to sell, because it will be an add-on rather than an essential. So if you can tie what you're offering as a business to your customers, to a problem that they want to solve, a frustration that they have, or an opportunity they want to seize, you will find that you will be far more successful in selling what you want to sell, or promoting what you want to sell. So pressing problems or outcomes people want to achieve are the key to developing a powerful message around your USP. Make sense, everybody? Everybody still awake? So you may have seen this diagram before that we've shared. It's a very, very important diagram, because these are the things that help you not only define the USP of your business, but define the problems that your clients have that you can solve. You remember when we went to this one here? What do your customers want? Yeah. What do your customers want? Well, this is the first element of your research. What are the problems that they're facing? What are the challenges? What are the things that they're doing right now that you can make simpler, easier, cheaper, help them make more money, help them save time, help them give them back more time? These are the things that happen. Now, if you haven't watched any of our previous training and you haven't seen this diagram before, I'll just give you a quick overview before we push on. So people buy to solve problems. Time is a problem. In other words, not having enough, hire a VA, or needing more time to do something else. So I want more time back to be with my family, or I've got no time to myself. So there's two different versions of that. So think about your time, your money, the money conversation, and Richard is there. I'm not sure whether it's the Richard I know or not, but Richard, if you need help with your USP, I'm happy to help you with your USP, whether that's your USP as a person or as a business. So the time is about saving time or gaining time. Money, saving money or gaining money. Now is about what is the pressing problem like now. So a lot of people like breakdown services, plumbers, emergency plumbers, things like that operate in this now urgency. Or, you know, I've been let down by a supplier and I've got a deadline to meet. That's a now problem where I just have to get something done immediately, like a crisis or like under pressure or a deadline. An example of this could also be, say, and I was speaking to a client who works with larger corporates and they help them with transformation projects. So when they help with transformation projects, often they go a bit adrift or they get stuck and they become difficult. So if you have a project that's failing or a project that's about to fail, now it becomes the problem that you can help people with. That person has a now problem. Now, the aspirational problem is, and I'll use my famous example of the Lamborghini problem. So the Lamborghini problem, people go, how can you have a problem with a Lamborghini? Well, most Lamborghinis, they cost anywhere, depending on which one you get, between £200,000 and £500,000. The average mileage per year on a Lamborghini is 5,000 miles. It costs around 20,000 a year to maintain a Lamborghini. So why would anybody want one of these things, particularly as you can't put the shopping in it, you can't take the family out in it, it's a nightmare to go over the road, the speed bumps. So why would anybody want one? And most of them never actually get to their top speed on a regular basis. Most of them are run on a track 4 or 5 times and then cruise around a city for 5,000 miles a year. So why would somebody spend 200 to 500 grand on a Lamborghini? Well, the Lamborghini is not there for them to drive. It's not there for them to do the shops. It's there as an aspirational asset to allow the person to tell the world they have arrived. It shows them, the person, that they're successful, and it speaks to the world to say, this is me, I've arrived. You can see, they want to make a statement to the world, and they're saying it in a way that people go, oh, they're successful. Now, not everybody's emotionally needy. Some people actually buy Lamborghinis because they want Lamborghinis, but most people associate Lamborghinis with success and with wealth, so they get them to make that statement to the world. So what's the aspirational problem? I should be. I'm better than this. I shouldn't be where I am. I should be there. The kind of, as we would say, keeping up with the Joneses mentality is a lot at play in aspirational problems, where they need to achieve something. They need to realize that kind of top of the pyramid of self-actualization on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So those are the 4 areas where clients and customers have problems. And your job is to figure out which are the most powerful for your customers and develop your business around those solutions. Inclusion Playland, I'd happily drop us an email, hi@maverrik.com or hi@maverrik.co.uk. I can't remember which one it is. And we'll happily see if we can help you. So it's really important that you kind of figure out this space and really understand this so you can address the most pressing problems your customers have. If you're addressing problems that your customers don't have, you will have to really push and work hard to convince anybody to buy from you. So if people are quite happy with something, then very rarely going to change something. People generally change when they feel pain. They don't change unless they feel pain. That's where the whole thing of people being in comfort zones and stepping out of your comfort zone. It's quite hard to do because we like the comfort of the comfort zone. So it's better to find people with pains and solve their pains than try to cajole people out of their comfort zone. Now, in another course, which I can't do today, I can show you how you show people that their comfort zone isn't that great. But that isn't a kind of something I can do for today. It's a bit too more involved. But this is really important to understanding how you find the pains your customers have. So they buy to solve a problem and get an outcome. So in other words, people don't buy your product because of what the product does. They buy it for what the product allows them to be or become or achieve. So I want to be a billionaire, say. I want to be a billionaire. So I have a frustration that I want to get there. So somebody would say to me, I can show you how to be a billionaire. Whether they can or not is another question. But what I'm trying to get at is I will buy something to achieve a goal. I won't buy a product just for the sake of it. I will, but like if I buy clothing or people buy clothing, they buy for it how it makes them look and how it makes them feel. But they don't just buy any old clothing. They buy clothing because it makes them look nice or makes them look slimmer or whatever. That's why people do things. So they have a problem, they want an outcome, and your solution, your product, your service is the bridge between the problem and the outcome. So your services, your product, your solution is the bridge between where they are and where they want to be. Very, very simple. So your business success is solving a problem and delivering an outcome in a way which is different to other people. So that might be that you have a process that is different. It might be you have a style that is different. It might be that you have a focus that is different. But all of these things, style, focus, method, whatever you want to do, they have to be relevant to the customers. You can't just say, oh, well, we do it and we do it differently. How do you do it differently? And why does that make a difference? So if you do things differently, why does that make a difference? So if you're offering a service that improves upon something that's in the market, you can highlight the problems with what's already happening in the market and then say, this is our model that addresses those problems in the market. Make sense? Everybody still with me? Everybody alive and well and not asleep? I see Mark Robinson's hanging around. So how can you do it differently than a competitor or in a way which is better for a specific client base? So that's what you're thinking. You're not thinking, how can I beat the competition? You're thinking, how can you do something in a way which is better for a specific client base? And that's where your research really, really comes in, really matters. So I'm just going to walk you through a very, very, very simple way to start to put this together. I think I've got some of my fan club on here tonight. It's quite amusing to see the comments of people saying I'm wonderful. I'm sure I'll get the giggles from them tomorrow. So there's 3 stages to doing this: diagnosis, research, find out who the customers are, find out all of that stuff; strategy, crystallizing what you've researched and making decisions about it and how you're going to approach it; and then the positioning in the market. And this really forms the basis and the fundamentals of what would be your USP. Without this, you can't do it. So diagnosis, right? So diagnosis means the identification of the nature of an illness, problem, or other problem by examination of the symptoms. So what are the signs and how can you find those out? So we'll stick to 4 Ps. 4 Ps has lasted so far and it kind of works. The more complicated you make this stuff, the harder it becomes. So stick with the 4 Get the 4 right before you innovate and go any further. So the principle is the 4 Ps still stand, albeit they've adapted to a digital world. So how can you diagnose it? How can you diagnose what's going on? How can you find what people need, what customers want? Number 1, surveys. Surveys, dead simple. Ask questions. Yeah, ask people to complete questions. A bit hard, but it's worth the time to actually do it. Interviews, ring companies up and ask for their opinions. Yeah, really, really good. Observation, watch what's going on. Find out what's happening in the market. Observe what's going on. Look at what's going on in industry publications. Are there stats and facts that people are talking about in industry publications? Is there chatter on social media about your business, your type of business or your service or similar service to yours? Is there community forums that you can go in and ask people questions? Is there things like Quora, or is there things like Facebook groups? Find spaces where you can ask those questions to see, not because you want to sell to the people, but because you want to find the answers. Find the answers that people are talking about it. And it's really important that you don't just find the answer, you find the answers that they're sharing in the way they're talking about it. So I was talking to somebody the other day about their projects and their company and some of the problems that they address for customers. And they went through their survey and their research with me. And then when they kind of summarized it, they used completely different language. And really what you want to do to take your unique selling point that one step further is you actually mirror the language that your customers are using rather than industry jargon or techno babble, as we would say. So if the customer goes, I just want this to happen, don't say customers struggle with bespoke tailored solutions, waffle, waffle, waffle. Keep it the way that they say it. Now you may think, oh, I'm simplifying it. You are. The best thing you can do and the best form of communication is making the complicated simple. Yeah. So don't get all tied up in industry jargon. Ask questions. And one of the things I do, and I get a little bit of stick from it in Facebook groups and things when I ask these questions. And I ask questions like this. As a business owner, which is your biggest challenge? Getting more sales, getting more leads, or getting more inquiries? And some smart Alex on the groups tend to come back to me and say they're all the same thing. And I suppose to some degree they are. But what I'm looking for is to see which ones people click the most or which ones people vote for the most. Because I want to use the words and the phrases that my customers or potential customers are using so I can use that in my own content, in my own positioning, and understand my customers and market a little better. So observation, focus groups. The last one there, trial and error, is very expensive and very frustrating. And what people do is they try it, have a go, fail, try it, have a go, fail, try it, have a go, fail. But with a bit of research, even a tiny bit of research, you can eliminate some of that trial and error. But if you don't do the diagnosis of what's going on in the customer's world, what's going on in the marketplace, you will never get the level of insight that will make this much, much easier for you. Everybody still with me? I see Mark and Richard are, but anybody else still with me? So strategy. So insight from research provides the knowledge of opportunities. You can then decide upon the areas, ideas, route and market position. So who has what problem? What are the competition weak at? Do specific horizontals and verticals face different or similar issues? Do different groups buy for different reasons? Hi, Clive. Nice to see you. We need to catch up soon. I've not spoke for a little while. Which industries are least vulnerable to the future COVID issues, for an example? Which industries are generally recession-proof? If you're thinking about this in particularly now and how you refine it, think about how you can offer into businesses where they are struggling. Is there an offer that you can help people and tailor that message, tailor that product, tailor that service so that it fits with the current market climate? So, you know, perhaps you're working with a particular industry where they're struggling from COVID. Can you tailor your service? Not just your price, because that's what everybody does first. Tailor your price. Can you tailor your service so that it's adjusted so that it doesn't it is more relevant to where the customer is right now? Clive, coffee sounds good. That sounds great. So these are really important things to crystallize from your research so you can tailor and adjust things based on where the market is and the problems that are going on in the market and the ones that you can solve, the ones that the competitors are solving, and all those things. So when I say horizontals and verticals, what I mean is, and I've used this example here of marketing services. Now, there's lots of businesses that provide marketing services, and there's lots of businesses that provide what you want and that I want everywhere. But a simple way of finding a USP is tailoring your services to particular verticals. Now, what I really don't mean is niching down your business, because that can be a mistake, as a lot of businesses have found that worked in the leisure, marketing agencies, for an example, worked in the leisure and hospitality sectors. Suddenly they found that their USP, their position as a business, has come under threat because of the COVID. But what I am saying is you can niche down products and services. So you can have a product or a service that's tailored for a particular marketplace. So that's really what you should be doing, thinking about how you can tailor a product for a market, even if the fundamentals of that product or service are the same for multiple sectors and verticals. It just means your relevance and your this chat's really lively tonight. It's really throwing me because I've got so much chat going on here. Lorraine, nice to see you. Welcome. So think about your vertical markets and your horizontal markets and how your products sit within those areas. So that's what you really need to think about. You've got obviously different products for different markets, and some of those products will be the same. They're just packaged or tailored in a different way. But that's really important, because then the customers you understand what we're trying to achieve, you understand the relevance. So all of that trust and confidence that you know what you're talking about because you've built a product for that market is starting to be established. Yeah. Versus generic marketing services, for an example, is so wide, it doesn't have a sharp tip to its message. It can't pack a punch, because there's lots of people who do marketing. But what if you had a particular product that helps restaurants do something, or you helped financial services people do something? That's really a really important one that you can think of. I will cover a couple of questions in a little while. So if you've got any questions, do put them in the chat and I'll come back to them in a minute. So this is a little document that I'd love to take credit for, but one of our team, Kurt, put together, which is actually a helpful tool. It's quite tricky to fill in. It requires a lot of work. You can have this kind of for free. So you can have this USP, this client profile sheet for free. We'll get you the link so you can download it. It's effectively a way that forces you to really think hard about your customers and their problems. Now, we've gone through it a few times, and sometimes you have to really, really work at it. But the idea is you focus in on one particular client profile, so that you can really get under the skin of, under the bonnet, shall we say, under the bonnet, not under the skin, that's annoying, under the bonnet of that client or that client profile, and really start to understand the challenges that they're facing. So that's really, really important that you try and tackle something like that. Again, message us hi@maverrik.co.uk and we will send this to you. There's no cost or anything. It's something that will help to you. It is tricky to complete. And maybe I'll look at Kurt because he sat here. Maybe what we could do is just actually film a little session that we could put somewhere to help people just go through it. So he's nodding at me, so maybe we can convince him to do that just so that it'll help people. So that's really, really important. But you have to get to your fundamentals of the pain of the customer, the demands of the customer, what's the customer suffering with that you can help, what headache does the customer have, and what paracetamol have you got that your competitor doesn't have. And when you start to match that up and you start to see that fit, you can start to build real solid products and services that are really impactful, can really make a difference, and can really deliver an outcome to your customer base. So this is an example. It's quite tough to fill in. I keep saying that because I want to warn you, it is hard work. But as we know, nothing comes in life without hard work. And for you to spend an hour filling in a 5-page document to help you sell more, I think is worth the investment, particularly if somebody's giving it to you for free. So, final thing, the marketing mix. Yeah, there's 5 Ps, 4 Cs, 7 Cs, 15 Bs. There's tons of these different models, but this is the kind of original. And I kind of stick with the original because it's tried and tested and it will work hands down. And Mark's put here, I'm speaking to a 6-figure customer by watching these guys. He isn't telling fibs there, by the way. I don't like to do this, but I will in a minute. I'm going to share with you a new program we've got out in a second that you can join, but no pressure. But let me get on with this first. These guys in the chat are really distracting me tonight. So the 4 Ps is effectively how you package and position your product. Now that you know who your customer is, their challenge, their frustrations, you know where the position is that you can fit around your competitor. Now we come to the section of the 4 Ps. Keep it simple, dead simple. Product. What do you have to sell? What can it do? And how can it help the customer? What's its name, its features, its use cases, its user needs, its differentiation, its variations. So when we talk about things like variations, you could have one product with different elements for different markets. So the same standard product, but just tailored in different avenues for different markets. So what is it? What's it called? How do you make it unique? What's your methodology that makes it unique? All of these things make a difference. Price. What's the price point? Now there's three different ways generally to price. There's penetration pricing. In other words, cheap, undercut, get as low as you can in the market and just get the business. Now, there are some industries that do this. There's some industries that do this. Career inspiration. Curtie, yes, please drop us a line and we'll send you the doc. So drop us a line, hi@maverrik.co.uk, and send us the doc. We'll send you the doc. So penetration price is where you really go down on price. You go on the cheap end of the price. Now, the problem with that is you have to keep churning price. Price is not a great position to have, but in some industries you have to do it. I do know, and I speak to one of my customers who is in what you would class as a commodity market, and they position themselves to avoid selling on price. And they're a big company. They're not, they're selling things that you can get for pence, but they're finding ways to engineer value into the process. And that's the second stage of this, called skimming. Now, skimming is where you price on the value, the difference your product or service can make. So this takes a real detailed understanding of your offering and the difference your offering can make to the customer in order to be able to price on value, because you have to understand the difference it makes to the customer in order to understand how much to charge. So if the first one is selling it cheap, stacking it high and selling it cheap, the second one is is not that same model. It's not about volume to get revenue. It's about pricing it on outcomes and deliverables so that you can charge a more premium price. And then the final one, generally, I mean, there's lots of different models, but there's generally three. Neutral, and the neutral pricing is what's the market doing and what can the market take? And we'll position in the market based on everybody else. Now, generally speaking, you can't be, Lamborghini and Rolls-Royce have done things to establish their brand as a vehicle way outside market prices. They've done a lot of work to develop that. And you may have to not go to the Rolls-Royce end of the market. You might have to think about just being up and above out of market if you can prove and evidence that you can make a big difference or a big outcome to the customer's problem. But they're the three main models of pricing. Price to sell, just be aware, if you're the cheapest, if you've ever seen the film War Dogs, you've seen the scene where Jonah Hill's character realizes he's lowballed his competition by $50 million. Now, if you go down on price, be aware it will be very difficult for you to change that model later, because people will be used to your position in the market, particularly if it's a very small market where everybody knows you. So really think about your pricing model and be very careful about how you put this together, because if you get it wrong, it can mean the difference between selling one item or having to sell 10 to make the same money. So it's a real deliberate choice. You should be making a deliberate choice if you're going to price to sell. It shouldn't be the choice of just a whim. It should be a calculated choice to go in a penetration pricing model. Place. How's the product going to be distributed? Yeah. In other words, what's the different methods that you're going to be using to reach the market? Things like franchising. Are you going through a distribution model like Amazon? Are you going to sell wholesale to somebody else who's going to resell it? Think about the different ways that you're going to sell it. You're going to sell it direct. And this is what intensive, inclusive, exclusive, selective, and franchise are the different models of selling. You sell it to the customer, you sell it to somebody else who sells it to the customer, or you sell it kind of through a distribution channel like Amazon or something like that. So think about where's the different marketplaces you could be putting this together. And also just thinking about it. And I know somebody mentioned that they do services like ISO. And I don't know whether this is, I think was it Sal? Maybe Sal? Think about, is there different tiers of products that you can put together to help customers? Like, for an example, could you put a product on Amazon that helps people understand the changes that's happening to ISO as a result of COVID, for an example? Now, Sal, if that's you, I don't pretend to know your business, and I've just picked that up on spec, but think about what are the different areas and different models you can use. And we nicknamed something called a gateway product. A gateway product. So think about gateway products. So if you're in a market where customers have to really know you to buy from you, yeah, so they really need to really feel that they trust and relationships matter, then what gateway products can you have in your business that bring people to you, that show you can make a difference, so that they buy into not only what you can do for them, but they buy into you as people, so that they favor you in future business. So Sal, maybe this is something for you, I don't know, but think about, is there a gateway product to your full ISO auditing service or your full ISO services? Is there a gateway product? And it might be a preparation for ISO where you help people move towards those processes, but not in a kind of, okay, we want to have ISO by the end of the year. It might be, let's get you on par to it, and then let's push you further. So like a gateway product, or how they adapt their ISO certification for the COVID environment. So think about, what are the gateway products you could create? We have a number of gateway products in terms of mini courses and things we sell. They're on our website, and they're really bits of value that people can get, they can consume and use And if they see that and go, wow, these guys can help us more, hopefully, fingers crossed. And then they come and say, oh, I'd love to come on one of your stuff, one of your programs. So that's the kind of way we do it. And then promotion. What channels are you going to use to sell this? Now, as I said at the beginning, direct sales is tricky at the moment, just because you've got people not working from offices, people not necessarily receiving post. Some people, for an example, some people used to do email outreach, and some email outreach is tricky at the moment because so many people have changed jobs. So, you know, it's awful what's happened, but so many people are now not in the roles that they were. And a lot of what used to happen in terms of, you know, buying email databases for B2B just doesn't work anymore. So you may think some of your existing methods don't work. Print, maybe you can't get them out to people like they were. I don't know, but there's some channels. But what we have seen is we do know that people are watching TV, people are watching YouTube, people are watching on social media. So what we found is a lot of companies are going to social media, digital platforms, because one, it's more current, and it's quicker route to market. In other words, you can get to people quicker. But you have to understand, remember, this is not one or the other. This is about looking at your customers, their problems, who they are, their information, their research, and then deciding on the channels after that. It's really dangerous to decide on a channel before you've done any research. So if you think, oh wow, somebody's just shown me this new shiny piece of technology, if you don't think, you need to do the work and say, will this work for my customers before you decide anything? Because you could go onto social media, you could go onto Facebook, you could go onto LinkedIn, and then realize that they're not there. And you've wasted your time, you've bought something that isn't relevant, but then you might go, actually, they are there. And oddly enough, I showed some people yesterday that they could find their B2B client on Facebook. Now, I did a bit of research and I found them, and within 5 minutes, I found about 17,000 of their ideal customers on Facebook. Not advertising, by the way, and not any kind of dodgy friend requesting people without interacting or knowing them or anything like that. So there's lots of different strategies you can use, but you really have to understand your customers and find that unique. There's no point going onto social media. There's no point printing things. There's no point doing a TV commercial. There's no point doing any of that kind of promotion until you've crystallized your USP, until you really know the difference you can make and why you versus the competitor. Let's give you a scenario, and then I'm going to tell you about a program we're running, and then we'll do some Q&A. Let's say you are in front of your ideal customer right now, and they ask you the question, why should we choose you versus X company, a competitor? Can you give them not your wishy-washy answer, but a real solid answer that they think, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. And that's when you really know that you found your USP, your sweet spot as a business. Does that make sense? Yeah? Hopefully that makes sense. So just, Gabriel, yes, we do. So every week we run these free sessions. I'll tell you the reason why we run the free sessions, and I'll be completely straight with you. We have a firm belief that if we give value to the world, the customers will find us. So we put this out every week for free, and then people go, do you know what? These guys have got something. They can help me. I'm going to go on for one of their programs, or I'm going to get their help. I'm going to engage them to help me do this with them, that kind of thing. So that's why we do this. So there's something every week. So Gabriel, there will be other things on, and you can check the YouTube channel for the back courses because they're all there too. So go have a look. We will be running more, but it's really important that you find the models that work for you. So yeah, Mark, you're right. When would we ever address decision makers in their own home? That's really interesting. Because of obviously businesses have been moving to working from home, we are finding that people are engaging on Zoom calls and all that kind of stuff. They're engaging digitally in a way that they would never do before. And this is going to stick. This is not going to go away. The push towards digital is going to increase. And who was it? One of the major, excuse me, one of the major strategy companies in the US, McKinsey, discovered that digital adoption, so that's the number of people adopting new digital platforms, has increased, has accelerated by 5 years in less than 5 months. So the push towards digital is not massively going to increase. Anyway, so I'm going to share with you, we're going to do some Q&A, but just whilst we get into the Q&A, just remember, and I'll share these slides as well. So if you've signed up, you can get hold of these slides as well. If not, email us hi@maverrik.co.uk and we'll send you the slides as well. But if you're thinking, actually, I want some help, we're actually running a group program. We've been trialing this for about 6-9 months now, where you can join me and the team and we work together every single week to help you develop and grow your business through social selling. If you've got questions, please put your questions in the chat and we'll go through them. If you want me to do specific examples of your business, put the details in the chat and I will talk about your business and give you your example of things that you can do. Q&A is open shop. So if you ask a question, I will answer it. Once we go off live, I might be kind. I answer the questions in the lives. So if you want to join our social selling accelerator, till the end of the month, we're running a promotion. It's £495, including VAT. I've put the American dollars price there just in case you need it. It's every week. So yes, there's 2 hours one-to-one, 2 60-minute sessions, but then it's every month there are 4 live training sessions. So every month, 4 live training sessions. It's not a big group. It's not hundreds of people. I think we cap it so that we don't end up with too many people in that nobody can speak and nobody can interact and we can't discuss things between us. So it's 4 live groups every single month. So literally every month you can join these sessions every single month. We have a Q&A. It's actually on a Tuesday after this session. So at 8:15, we run a Q&A, a closed Q&A session where you can say, here's my business stuff. Here's my latest information. Can you help me with this? And we run a Q&A, ask anything Q&A sessions on a Monday, Tuesday night, 8:15. And then you get digital replays of all the training. So, and it's not a case of you have to pay for so long. It's a lifetime access to it. Dip in, dip out, dip in, dip out, watch the replays, don't watch the replays, don't come in, come back. That's how it kind of rolls. But you've got 2 hours of one-to-one with our team. So that's how it works. If you want to join it till the end of the month, it's discounted. But then 1st of September, it goes back up to the full price. So anyway, questions. Anybody got any questions? Anybody like to ask me any questions? I'll just... Have we got sound back now? So ask any questions. Paul, you're already a member of this. We decided last week you were already a member of this. So this is, Paul's already been on the program already. We've readjusted some things. So Paul's already on it. So Paul, you can dip in, dip out whenever you like. Sound's here now. I'm back. So if you want to join this, fine. But please do put your questions in. Because I'd love to be able to share any answers in this session, because when I finish in 6 minutes time, no more questions unless you're joining the programs or Accelerator. Any questions? Any questions? How's it now? Alice, can you hear me now? Anything now? Any questions? So, marketing agencies. So let me give you some examples. Remember her earlier, Srikanth has asked, how can I get business for my marketing agency? So marketing agencies help people reach a goal. What often happens is marketing agencies go out to the world and they say, we can help you do this. We can help you with SEO. We can help you with Facebook ads. We can help you do a new website. We can help you. We can create social media posts. We can do a TV commercial for you. But the real power, Srikanth, in marketing and marketing agent is showing people what you can achieve for them. So if your marketing agency can help people with SEO, what can you do? What is the outcome you can give people? So can you give people more web traffic? How much more web traffic? So then you might be appealing to people who go, actually, our web traffic is abysmal. How do we get more people on our website? How do we get more people to convert on our website? Actually, you're not a marketing agency. You just help businesses get more web traffic and convert that web traffic. The simpler the message, the more it will resonate with the people that you want to do business with. But you have to know their problem and match their problem to a service and an outcome you can deliver. So hopefully that makes sense. Think about the outcome. And I see this a lot, Srikanth, on LinkedIn. I see a lot of people sending messages. Srikanth, if you can put it to a metric, great. If you can say to people, does your web traffic suck? Would you like to give it a kickstart? You can do things like that, but you're appealing to people. If that's what you do, if you help people with their web traffic, you should be talking about the frustrations and challenges and annoyances of the fact that people can't get web traffic or the web traffic isn't high enough. LinkedIn, Alice, I get a lot of messages on LinkedIn from people trying to sell me stuff all the time. And I just think they can do a lot more to make it more interesting, to make it more engaging. So yeah, any more questions before I wrap up? So please, if you're feeling the love for the free training that we do, please would you go to Trustpilot and Google for Maverrik, Maverk, and give us a review. We really appreciate it, but that's how we can tell people, look, we're asking people to review, we're giving value, you be the judge. So if you can do that, I'd really appreciate it. Google reviews are awesome. Trustpilot reviews are incredible. So I'd really appreciate that. Particularly some of my clients who are in this group, I would love some Trustpilot reviews. If you could go there and do that, that would be awesome. So any more questions before I wrap up tonight? Any more questions? So we've had 104 different people watch tonight at any given time. So, you know, hope you've had value. So Alice, you're selling. Alice, I'm going to give you a little trick, and I'm going to give you a little. Richard's on Trustpilot. Oh no, no, he'd be nice. I hope. Alice, if you want to sell Victorian lace, depending on the quantities, depending on the quantities, I would get onto Facebook and I would go into the Etsy store owners group on Facebook. There's tons of them. Build relationships. Follow one of our strategies. There's actually I don't know whether it's up here, but we have, as part of the Accelerator, we have a social selling section for Facebook. But I don't know whether we've got a course on the website about that. No, we've got the page builder, how to grow your page audience on your Facebook page audience. Alice, I would go on Facebook, find the Etsy group, because Etsy's generally craft and handmade, and you could probably find a lot of store owners who would be interested in buying what you've got. Now, if it's bigger quantity, then it's probably a LinkedIn conversation for, say, a wholesaler or a distributor. But again, you need to map out who your customer is. I don't know who their customer is, but I'm just taking some quick information and putting something together. But if you think, actually, I could benefit from this help on an ongoing basis with me in the live calls and things like that, please do join our Social Selling Accelerator. Love to have you. I work hard for everybody who joins, even down to I'll make my own time available, which is what I do because I want everybody to succeed. So I'm going to wrap up in a second. Oh, that's odd. We'll send the link round, but Sal, just Google Trustpilot Maverrik and go do it. That would be great. Alice, just search at the top on Facebook for Etsy store owners and then click the tab for groups and you'll find them all. Awesome. So if I don't see you next week, I will see you in the Accelerator when we start in September. So please do consider that. But if not, I will look forward to seeing you in either a free live training or on the Social Selling Accelerator. Thank you for watching and see you all again soon.